Hey, Charlotte, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good, sir. How are you?
So, with TakeOver this Sunday, fans have been looking back at your early years in NXT as well, which basically was the groundwork for your success in WWE. Was a certain match or moment in your original time in NXT that sticks out and helped you define your persona in sports entertainment that you maybe think about it until today?
Actually, yes. I truly believe that if I had not had the NXT TakeOver match for the NXT Women's Championship against Natalya, that I would not be here today. I think that match put me on the map. I think it made me realize that I had what it took to make it in the WWE. And I think it brought eyeballs onto me in terms of I'm not just, Flair's daughter, that I was actually a real talent that was willing to work hard and make a difference.
And a quick follow-up, Becky Lynch announced a pregnancy a couple of weeks back. What was your initial reaction when you heard the news, and what was your message you had for her or when you talked to her?
I was speechless in a good way. It's almost like the icing on the cake. I mean, just what an incredible year she's had, and then to be engaged and then to have a baby, what a fairy tale. And I couldn't be happier for her, and I can't be more ecstatic for her comeback when she does come back.
All right, thanks for your time today.
It looks like we have Miguel Torres with Marca.
Hello, Charlotte. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to talk with you today. My first question, at the NXT TakeOver in your house pay-per-view, you're defending your NXT Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai in a triple threat match. You have faced both of them in a singles match defending your title. Can you tell us about which are the difference between defending your title against Rhea in a single match and having other one defending it against you?
In a singles, or what's the difference between a triple threat and a singles match?
Yes.
Is that okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there's a huge difference. Obviously, the stakes are higher in a triple threat match, but due to Rhea not, I told Rhea that she needed to wait in line because Io is the next, she is the number one contender. But since Rhea continued to butt into our business, making it a triple threat just seemed fitting. And Rhea never got a rematch for the NXT Women's Championship. So to me, more the merrier. It'll just make for, a better match, having all three talents.
Okay, and just a quick follow-up. Talking about the women's division during these past years, we have had a lot of talent, but some of them are not currently active in the WWE roster, like the Bellas or Ronda Rousey. Do you miss someone of the roster to wrestle?
Do I miss them?
Yes, if someone that is not in the roster, for example, the Bellas or Ronda Rousey, do you miss someone? Would you like to have a match with her right now?
Well, I had the honor of being able to wrestle Nikki. I actually won the Divas Championship from her, and then I retired the Divas Championship. So having the opportunity to face her already, I wish her the best of luck with her future with Artem and being pregnant and getting married. And then I actually wrestled Ronda at Survivor Series last year, and I kicked her butt. So I think if I look at the women who are not currently active, I'd have to say I'd want to match with Beth Phoenix one-on-one. She's the one woman that I haven't had an opportunity to face. Because she's such a powerhouse.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Derek Cassidy with Forkita.
Hi, Charlotte. How are you today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. So last time we spoke, I asked you about what we'll call a myth about you winning too many matches or being too strongly pushed. And you told me the reason that that criticism came up was because people didn't have the chance to miss you. So, of course, I loved the initial SmackDown promo you said about being brought in because the people want more Charlotte Flair. Now it seems like you're the hardest... now it seems like you're the hardest working superstar in WWE because you're on all three brands. I want to ask, what do you see your role as currently in WWE, and how did you end up being on all three brands?
Oh, man. That's a loaded question. I don't know how I ended up. I just, like we talked before, I really do think that my consistency is also a detriment to people missing me. Like, I think I am doing some of my best work of my career right now, promo-wise and ring-wise, but because people see me all the time, I just don't think it's not like they're used to it, and the expectation is so high, and it's so frustrating because it's like, well, what, am I not supposed to be hungry? Am I not supposed to, always want to be on top? Am I not supposed to be fighting, to get better? So I don't know. It's like a catch-22. I think the biggest thing for me is, yes, I'm on all three brands, but if you look at my storylines that I am a part of, I'm a part of someone else's storyline. It's not like anything is a Charlotte Flair push. Like, there's nothing that I'm just put because I can basically do anything and everything they ask. Like, going to SmackDown was not for me. That's not a push. That's Charlotte Flair is a name, and she's coming to SmackDown. So currently, I am just all over the place brand-wise because I am the hardest worker, and I will say that for the women. I've been going straight for 6 years, and I don't know. It's just, I like getting better. I like being at work. This is my job. I love it. I don't want to go away, but it is frustrating because I think people take the growth and my work, for granted because they see it all the time. It's not like, oh man, it's hard. I don't know what the right answer is.
Excellent. And I had one quick follow-up, if it's okay. Obviously, you've done a lot in terms of winning championships. Someone you've mentioned personally in a lot of interviews is Tessa Blanchard, who holds what was previously mainly known as a male championship and a world championship. Yep. Is that something you ever see yourself trying to pursue or do personally?
Something that I want to pursue, but if you look at the big picture, when women are succeeding in different organizations or around the world, we're all succeeding and we're all winning from that. So for her to hold that accolade is just, we should support and be just extremely proud as a woman to see her do that. And because when one's doing well, we're all doing well. And that's, what has pretty much driven the women's evolution is we work better in numbers. So it's not something that I think about right now, but I couldn't be more proud and happy for what she's doing for women around the world.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Next from TalkSport, we have Alex McCarthy.
Hi, Charlotte. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good, thank you. I wanted to start by talking about just the fresh faces you've been working with for the past few weeks, basically since you won the title at WrestleMania. Tagging with Chelsea Green, for instance, and I really enjoyed the match with Liv Morgan the other week. Do you feel like this point in your career, when you've achieved a lot, has this really given you a new sense of motivation? And how much have you really enjoyed working with a fresh set of women?
I've had the opportunity to face Liv before, and Ruby Riott and Chelsea. To be honest, what I'm having the most fun with is the empty arena element. It's really been a learning experience, and I've really taken it seriously to where, how can I stand out as a performer with this circumstance, and how do I improve with it? And having the opportunity to work, I've worked with maybe twice now, seeing their growth, and then just being able to be a part of every division, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. But what I've had honestly the most fun with is taking this challenge of the empty arena and standing out and elevating my work by growing through this, circumstance.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been cool to see for a lot of performers. Another thing I actually enjoyed was the promo that you had on SmackDown, and you got involved with Bayley and Sasha Banks. I thought that was really cool how that furthered the story and added intrigue. We're talking about you doing fresh things at the moment with NXT, but is there a certain satisfaction and love you get from working with your fellow horsewomen? And what do you think about the story they're putting out at the moment?
I mean, to be able to, Bayley and I have come full circle on Raw and SmackDown and from NXT in terms of storylines and facing each other. What's fun about facing the fellow four horsewomen is we just continue to change and grow and go back to these matches and seeing how we can make each one different and better. That's what's so much fun about that. It's because there's so much history there. And to be able to poke the bear and kind of jumpstart their storyline, it only felt fitting for it to be me. Because who knows them better?
Totally. Thank you so much, Charlotte.
My pleasure.
Next question, we have Maddie Paddock with the Daily Star.
Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for your time. I'd like to start by paying you a real compliment, really. You're obviously, firmly established as one of the best bad guys, one of the best heels in WWE. And I'd like to sort of reference that with Bayley, really, and how she's going in her career at the moment, because there was a time, I guess, where, and again, this is a good thing, being horrible on television comes quite easily to you, but for someone like Bayley, the idea of her perhaps portraying a heel character was akin to, spoiling Christmas for kids, maybe. How do you think she's doing? Because she seems to have really taken to that role and perhaps surprising one or two with her abilities to really switch that up. I'd love to get your perspective on it.
I think anytime you have the opportunity to evolve and being on camera with her real life best friend and playing off of that, I think has really given her layers to the character, and it's been fun to watch. But I do think when it's the two of us, it's very hard to tell that story. Like, who Like, am I the bad guy or are you the bad guy? But from afar, from an outsider looking in, it's been great to see her kind of take the ball and run with it, because I don't know if that is a natural fit for her, but it's coming across that way, and it's great.
Did she give you? Did she seek out any advice or any guidance from you in terms of how to kind of perfect that role? I mean, I know you're obviously still very much doing your thing at the moment, but did she? And I guess what advice would you have given her had she done so?
I think before I moved to Raw, we traveled together on live events and tours when they had just turned her as a bad guy. And her and I were like, well, this is a tricky situation. Because I'm going, well, what makes me a good guy? Just because you turned bad? And figuring that out together was such a learning experience. And I don't know. I mean, she has more experience than I do if you look at the big scheme of things, like in the big picture, right? She had prior work before WWE, but I think what we did and working together in those first, matches and tours and live events is really like, how do we do this and how do we make this work? And I took what, that circumstance happened to me, and how do I take that character being portrayed as this, and she took what, she was given. And I think also having to work with someone my size as well taught her a lot. Not that I taught her, but just someone my size as being the bad guy and being on me. I just think it was just a good introduction at first into that, but it made both of us want to work harder, I think. And now she's, leaps and bounds from, like, when we had that match on SmackDown, it was like, yes, we're getting it now. Like, how do we do this story where Bayley can be Bayley and I can be Charlotte in the current storyline?
That's smashing. Charlotte, thanks ever so much for your time, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Star one. Our next question comes from Kostas Lianos with the Daily Express.
Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you again. So how would you compare the NXT roster of today to the one from your first stint between 2012 and 2015?
I would have to say that the women now are more polished because the brand is now on the network. Traveling for live events and for takeovers is the norm. So when I was in NXT, we were fighting for all these things. And whereas now here they are, the third brand. We were fighting to be equal as they are equal now.
I see. That's very, very interesting. And in less than 10 years, you have reached unprecedented success, which is a very rare kind of success. And I was just wondering, what's the secret behind your success?
What is the secret? I think it's my ability to adapt to storylines that aren't necessarily like, I'm playing the good guy, I'm playing the bad guy. I'm also consistent. I also learn very quickly. If something goes wrong, I learn from it, move on, and don't make the same mistake again, or at least I try not to. I think that has a lot to do with it. I can just be placed pretty much anywhere. And I want to be the best. I'm trying to think of the word. I guess my greatest opponent is the person I look in the mirror every day, just wanting to get better. And this is not the best thing to say, but I guess oh, nothing is ever good enough. Like I want to, you know, I've checked off everything almost on my bucket list of what I've done, but it's almost like I want more. Maybe, I don't know.
Thank you very much for your time, Charlotte, and all the best.
Thank you.
I have Nims Azur with ASN Radio Australia.
Hey, Charlotte. Greetings from Australia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm going fantastically. Now, obviously, you've got In Your House this Sunday. It's such a historic pay-per-view coming back. Obviously, carrying, well, your father's last name and the legendary Flair legacy with you. How do you feel about now also being in another legendary part of the WWE fabric? Because there'd be so many fans out there. There's been almost 2 decades since we've seen an In Your House, and now you get to be part of such a historic pay-per-view name that's being brought back.
Well, it's getting to be a part of In Your House, and then I think it's almost been 5 years since I've been on a TakeOver, which it's you know, great, like traveling with Raw and SmackDown, and then, you know, pulling up TakeOver on my phone on the network and watching the men and women, and now it's like, wait, now I'm going to be on that show again, and there's such an energy around takeovers, and they just seem so unique and special, and to be able to be a part of that again, I'm very honored.
I need to talk about your opponent, well, one of your opponents, Rhea Ripley. You had an absolute barn burner. It was clearly the match of the night at night 2 at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley. It's really cool to sort of see so many Australians, because as you know, Australia's really far from where you guys are, but there are so many other great Australian women that are in the NXT roster right now, like Rhea Ripley. Have you had a chance to have a look at some of the talent like Indy Hartwell or Toni Storm, or even do some single stuff with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, the Iconics?
Yeah, so I've known Billie and Peyton since NXT. And I've had the opportunity to face them. I adore them. And I actually had a moment with Tony in the Royal Rumble this year. And that was fun because I was actually at the TakeOver in England when Tony had a match. And I'm looking forward to having a one-on-one with her. She's the only one that I really haven't had time to, like, the hiccup in Royal Rumble was just, like, it was a hiccup. So I'm looking forward to facing her in the future.
Well, Charlotte, thanks so much for taking the time to answer some of my questions. Good luck this weekend. And just FYI, you still haven't got Tag Team Gold or Mae Young Classic, so that could be something to aim for if you still want to add something to your trophy cabinet.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're going to do our
I tried the tag team thing. It didn't work out very well.
All right.
Greg, we're going to go to our final question, please.
Perfect. It'll come from Simon Tackler with Australian Radio Network.
Hey, Charlotte. Thanks for chatting today.
Oh, you're welcome, sir.
Now, I just wanted to ask, of course, NXT TakeOver In Your House, it's going to be a triple threat match. Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. Expectations are high, and no doubt it's going to be another classic triple threat of yours, like the main event last year at Mania or the one in Dallas from a few years ago. But aside from that, it's also going to be a different vibe because the crowd isn't going to be the normal NXT crowd. It's going to be, future stars of the WWE from the Performance Center and NXT. Does that put a different kind of pressure on you to put on a great performance because these are people watching closely and they're potentially coming for your spot and your championship down the line?
I was talking to someone about this last week. It actually adds a different kind of pressure because these are your peers. These are the people that want to be where you are and know what you're doing, actually. So it kind of makes me a little more nervous, to be honest. like the expectation or seeing them up close. It's great to have the talent there and the energy. But yeah, it adds a little, it's not, you know, families that you don't know sitting there. It's people that are training to take your spot.
Yeah. And just quickly, while we're all still in lockdown, the whole world is, you know, working out at home. Obviously, fitness is a big part of your life. If there's one ultimate home exercise you could recommend to people, what would it be? From the Queen, from Charlotte Flair.
Oh. I recommend getting a partner in quarantine that lives with you. Well, actually, you know, if you live by yourself, I can't say that. Mm-hmm. Let me think. A jump rope.
That's okay. My wife's at home. I could do that. It could work.
Yeah. Well, if you have a partner to do it with, it makes it all that much better. Motivates you, holds you accountable. It's just fun. It's bonding. But the one exercise, I'd say grab a jump rope. You can do it anywhere.
Nice. Okay. Well, my cardio's terrible at the moment. I'm going to work on the... All right. Brilliant. I'll work on that. Next time we chat, I'll give you an update on the jump rope. Thanks, Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Thank you.